Conditional output is a feature in Page Generator Pro that allows parts of content to be included in our generated pages or posts based on a specific condition. Typically, we would use this to output a paragraph of text based on a keyword term's value or its existence or non-existence, but we can also use this for things like outputting different headings depending on a keyword term as well. We've got a very basic site set up with a service keyword here comprising of our three services: website design, development and software development. And we have a content group where we are using the service name in the title as well as a few other places throughout the content, for example in our header here and within this block section here. If we go ahead and generate this, we'll get 3 pages, one for each of our services, and we can look at each of these individually. We'll see we've got our website design experts and we have our heading here. We should also have it down here as well and within the content. Exactly the same for our second term, website development, the same layout. And then if we move on to software development, again we can see the keyword has been replaced with the term in the title and within the content. But if we look at this one here, this particular heading, grammatically it doesn't make sense. So if we go back to our content group, what I'd like to do is leverage the description that I've set in my keyword. So in this example, I've decided for the header here, I'm happy with this default template for web design and web development, but for software development, I would like to use a different description. And this is why in our keyword, we've got this description column here. We have other tutorials on how to use the keyword system and configure keywords. I recommend looking at those if what you see doesn't quite make sense in terms of the keyword on screen. To use this, I can go ahead and, in very simple terms, I could take this out and put in service description. Let's click on save, and then we'll go ahead and regenerate our content. Whilst this is absolutely fantastic here because we get the correct heading that we like, we now lose the heading for website development and website design. This is far from ideal. So the conditional output feature that we have really comes into play here. What we're going to do is conditionally output this heading based on either the description that we have, or if there's no description from the keyword, fall back to a sensible default. So I've gone ahead and written the condition, and I'll walk through how this works. A condition starts with @if and it will always end with an @endif. We have an else in the middle, and in very simple terms what we're saying is if this keyword term here exists, we want to output it here. If it does not exist, then we will output the text between the else and the endif. We'll demonstrate how that works by clicking on save, going to our content group, and we will generate our pages again. Once more, we'll look at all 3 of these. So with website design, we'll see that we have the fallback header of easily promote your business with a beautiful functional website design that works. Website development will be very similar, the difference being our keyword. And just to remind you, that's because when we go down to our condition here, we told it in this else condition here to include that service name output. If we then look at software development and scroll down, we can see that we get a different description, and this is what we wanted, and this has been plucked from the keyword description here. So what's happened, again to make this really clear, is that this condition here of if service description exists was met, therefore we output the service description. But another thing I noticed is this section here. Once again, the description that we have for the service makes sense if we're talking about web design or web development, but it doesn't really make as much sense when we're talking about software development. For example, when we have the final paragraph here, an online presence to improve sales doesn't really apply to when we're describing our software development service. So we can once again make use of conditions and conditional output. Now, to use this within multiple paragraphs of text, whether you're using the block editor or perhaps a page builder like Elementor or Divi, it's really important to make sure that you're using plain HTML wherever possible. That ensures that HTML and other elements don't get in the way and interfere with conditions that can result in output being slightly different than intended. In this example, what I will do is I would remove this text here, and I would use the HTML or custom HTML block here. And again, in Elementor, Divi and other page builders that we support, you will find that they have some form of HTML or plain text option that you can insert as a module or widget. We'll then place our content into here with its paragraph HTML tags. So this is exactly the same as before. And then we can begin writing our conditions. So once again, to start a condition, we can open it with @if, and I like to write it like this, and I'll come back and fill in this condition, and then I like to go to the end and do @else, and then I'm going to do software development output here, and then an @endif to close it off. So in this scenario, what I'd like to do is only output this text here if the keyword name, so the service name, is not software development. So to do that, we can go ahead and use the keyword service name, and then we can do not equals software development. And this will mean that if the service name that we are generating the page for is not software development, so in other words it's web development or web design, we will output this text here. Otherwise, it means that we are generating the page for software development, and therefore we want some different text. Now in this case I've just put a simple example, but you'll put something more detailed here talking about software development. We'll go ahead and save this and once again demonstrate how this works. So we'll generate our 3 pages, starting with website design experts, and we scroll down, we have our default 4 paragraphs, we have the same for website development, fantastic, and then because this is the software development keyword, as we scroll down we can see we have a different output here. Conditional output goes beyond the simple conditions of a keyword term having a value or equaling or not equaling something. In our documentation we do include the other comparison operators that are supported. You can also use logical operators, and this is where you can build more complex if statements. So if you're working with perhaps multiple keywords and you want to output content based on service keyword value and a location keyword value, you can see this is possible as well. We also include some examples that may help, a little bit more detailed than this video. Hope that helps, and see you in the next video.